I got it. I figured it out. Hello?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay. We might have to do
What?
this another time.
Huh?
We might have to do this another time where
Oh,
I'm at a
why?
different.
Oh, where
Huh?
you at? You said why? Where
I'm
you at right now?
I'm at a friend's house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's tripping because he thinks that I might have to have permission from the housing authority where he lives at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to do the podcast, and I don't think I have to, but still,
Oh,
it's just a respect thing, I guess.
oh. Anyways, what's up, everybody? I mean, it is I can probably figure it out.
Mhm.
Talk about whatever. Anyways, I was gonna do a podcast. I'm doing podcasts still, whether you're here or not. I'm talking about mental health, anyways.
All right.
I mean, if you don't have to have permission, I mean, that's cool. I figured it out. Oh, I gotta tell this guy I figured it out.
Okay. Is it cool if I continue this?
Well, yeah, you can be here.
I don't think you have to have permission. You're good. Yeah, but it has nothing to do with them, and it's about mental health. This is for
Yeah, it has
inspiration.
nothing. I can tell you right now, sir. It has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with mental health or whatever.
This,
It's a mental health based podcast.
yeah, this is helping people that has like anxiety or schizophrenia or depression. People like us. This has nothing to do with them. Now, if it had something to do, if we were talking about the housing authority, then yeah, I would probably have to sign some type of paper.
Yeah,
But
that
this,
has nothing to do with the housing company or whatever that you live at. So tell you that right now, it has nothing to do with that. It's all based on mental health issues.
yeah, I know you don't. If anything comes up, I
We're
want to
not
hear.
gonna talk. We're not gonna talk about anything about the housing, anything about housing or anything like that. Has nothing to do with that. I can tell you that right now.
We're good.
I'm the host. I'm the founder and the host of the show. So, you know, I only talk about mental health issues.
We're good. We're good to go. I've,
Uh,
I've got I've got him covered. Mm. But so what's up?
what's up? So, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? You are on the Take Me Away podcast. Today we got a special guest because my other guest canceled. So tell us a little about yourself or whatever, and some of the stuff that we go through as far as mental health or whatever.
Okay, so my name is Wendy. I go by Star Child. Um, I'm 35. I'll be 36 at the end of the month. Let's see. I've got three girls, and I am from Fort Campbell, Kentucky. But as for mental issues, I've, I suffer from anxiety. I suffer from depression, PTSD, trauma. I suffer from bipolar. There's probably everything except for schizophrenia, but like it it has a lot to do with the people around me and my surroundings because of the fact that like I'm on a different spectrum than everybody else. Like my vibrations are higher than most people. But when it comes to mental health, it can be very devastating for somebody, especially when other people doesn't seem to understand. And it doesn't matter how much you try to get them to understand, it just seems like it doesn't click. So you're left feeling alone and abandoned and like you're not good enough. um
So
it's very hard.
tell us, when you actually first noticed anything about like you having some of these issues that you go through.
I was 7 years old when I started having to see a therapist, and like they eventually started saying that there wasn't nothing that they could do to help me because I was going to go through adult changes and adult situations that was just going to basically tear my life apart, and the only person that could get me through it was me. And
So what are some of the things that you do when going through some of the issues, like the different issues you have, like some of the different issues that you go through? You have different stuff that you do compared to another issue that you go through.
actually, I lean in on my music. My music is what gets me through. I write poetry. I write my songs. Um, I stay away from people that just drain me of my energy, and I just keep telling myself that I'm good enough because I am. It doesn't matter what other people think of me. I am who I am, and I was made this way for a reason. Um,
I mean,
some people,
I believe that everybody, whether you have PTSD or whatever, I believe my personal belief is that I believe everybody goes through some form of mental health issues, whether it be just a little bit or a lot.
yeah, actually, I do believe that. I don't think that it is strictly based on your DNA and where you come from. I think that a lot of people do deal with it, especially anxiety, because look at where we're living at. You know, look at the world right now. Look at how all this chaos is going on. If there is one person out there in this world that says that they don't feel the anxiety from this, then they are lying to themselves, not just everyone else.
I mean, I go through it once in a while. That's why I have my music to help me, cope with some of the stuff I go through. So it helps me not to go through,
Most
a lot of
definitely.
the stuff that someone else may go through a lot more than what I do. And I'm around it every day, because I actually am with someone that goes through, a lot of mental issues or whatever because some of the stuff they went through when they were a kid or whatever. So, but I'm not
Yeah,
gonna go into a whole lot about all the stuff or whatever because not my place or whatever. But
right. I mean, like, there, okay, so for anybody that's listening or whatever, like, take it from me. I know what you're probably going through. More than likely, about 95% of the things you're going through, I've already been through. And I just want to let you know, like, you're not alone. You may feel like you're alone, but you're not alone.
no
It
one
just,
is alone. If you
yeah,
have to, people, if you have to, call someone.
yeah,
Call if you had to call the suicide hotline, or if you had to call, 911 or whatever the situation. There's people out there or whatever. That can help or whatever. And part of the reason why I started this podcast is because I'm rounded and I feel like I can create a safe place where people can come, you know, and talk to other people about, some of the stuff they may go through, or, other people are there to, encourage you, that you're not alone in this world.
absolutely. And it's great that you're doing that too, because I mean, there's a lot of people that needs help and they don't even know which way to turn. And unfortunately, that's the type of people. Those are the people that actually wind up doing the utmost unnecessary thing, which I'm not going to completely put it out
Yeah.
there because I don't know what other people are going through right now. There might be somebody getting ready to snap and don't need to hear that.
Yeah.
So
That's why I created this, to have them, because it's necessary. A therapist in itself, like an extra therapist, may not actually be what they need. They just may need someone, like a random stranger or something, to talk to or something, or a friend of their self.
absolutely. But let me tell you something. The one person that has got your back all the way is God. And I know that there's people that don't believe in God, but let me tell you, just try it out one time. Just say something, just say a prayer to Him and ask Him to watch over you and to touch you. And I guarantee you, you'll get an answer back. God is love. and we're
Yeah,
supposed.
God, either whether you believe it, there's always something out there, God or higher power, whatever Jesus or whatever God, higher power you talk to, talk to them,
Meditation.
whether you're a Christian or Baptist or whatever, talk to
Right.
your God or whatever.
But you know, you may not. People may, like there for the longest time. I didn't feel like I was loved, and like I didn't feel, even now though, for real, I don't feel like I'm loved enough. I don't feel like people recognize who I could be. I think that they try to stereotype me because of my anxiety and because I'm a little different. But the thing of it is, though, if it's easy for me to deal with my anxieties and stuff like that and still be able to treat people with respect and be humble and generous and stuff, it should be easy for everyone else. It doesn't matter what you go through, but you just got to remember that it doesn't matter who you are, where you're at, what you've
Not,
done. There are people that still love you. I love you. If
yeah,
you have,
not nothing in this world is easy. If everything was easy, then we I don't think we have any. Some of the people we have and the way they are. Like people that help out or whatever.
right. But you just got to remember, just keep telling yourself that you're good enough. Even if you may not feel like it, you are good enough. The reason why you're still standing today is because you are good enough and because God loves
Exactly,
you. Because there are people that love you and want to see you succeed and want to see that you're going to be okay. And it will be okay. It will
exactly.
be
That's
okay.
God. I believe God doesn't put. God puts doesn't put anything on your plate that you can't handle. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. It may seem like it's too much, but guess what? If you got through it yesterday, you can get through it today. You just
This
got to
is
believe in it, manifest it.
yeah. People, you matter. Whatever
Right. But it sucks that there is things that
Did you?
exist in this world, like
Yeah.
mental health. My
Yeah.
mental health is literally, I have social anxiety because of it. I don't like people. I don't know how many others feel that way, but I really don't like people.
There's a lot of people out there that can't handle a lot of people around or whatever. I know, like my other half, she, sometimes can't be around a whole lot of people or whatever. Some people is okay, but you know,
Well, my thing, like when you're going out here and you're shoving people down because of their successes or because they don't have this and that and whatever, that creates what? It creates depression, anxiety. And the thing of it is, we brought this on ourselves. If people actually treated people with love and respect and considered that they might, that just because they were different doesn't mean that they bleed the different blood than I do or they do or whatever. It's still
some people, like some people can't handle. Some people can't help what they go through, like people with Down syndrome or people that may have Tourette's or
right.
just randomly may
You
say
know,
something out of the blue. They can't necessarily help that because that's the way they were born. you know so like for some of us out here to go and make fun of them, you know, and put them down, just put yourself in their shoes and see how they feel when they're going through this issue. And I believe that a lot of people would be like, oh well, maybe
but
I
see,
shouldn't do that.
when you're narcissistic, you can't do that because narcissist has no feelings. So you can't do that to them. But um,
But you
you
know what
just
I'm saying? Just like just put reverse
just
it or
think
whatever.
about somebody
It's like
other than yourself for one.
yeah.
Yeah, I get that. But I mean, like when you see somebody that's crying or whatever, don't mock them and don't laugh at them because you don't know if their father died yesterday or today. You don't know if their mama died or whatever. You don't know if they feel like going and jumping off the next bridge. All
And
right.
everybody grieves differently too.
Exactly. Some people don't grieve at all until it's too late. And those are the people that you might need to worry about the most, because those are people that just don't care. They've learned how to lock their feelings in and not show it to the world for a
and,
reason, because it
and,
is painful.
and that's not always good too. That's not always good to like lock it in or whatever, because then it builds up and it explodes or whatever, like that's why I'm saying, there's always someone out there to go talk to, call, a non emergency number or call, I think it's 411 or some number they have, like, read it, I don't think it's 411, but you know what I'm saying? Like a three digit
Yeah,
number, in each state it's different that they can talk to someone,
right. Don't if you think that you're not strong enough to deal with this alone, I encourage that you don't. Okay, reach out to somebody. It doesn't matter who, but if you feel inside your soul that they might listen, then just start talking to them,
Yeah,
regardless if you've read it or not. But just get that off of your chest, because it's something that you do not need to carry with you for the rest of your life. It has destroyed me, and I am slowly but surely learning how to get back up on my feet and learn to love myself again. And
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
telling you, it's not a feeling. It's not a feeling that you want to feel. It's not
Just
something you want.
let me ask you though. Do you take? I know you do music or whatever, but like, do you take like any prescriptions or whatever? I'm just curious
I'm
about.
supposed to. I'm actually, they put me on like 12 different medicines, and I don't take them because I don't feel like they work for me. They just make me sick to my stomach. So I
Yeah,
deal with
I
it
get
on
that.
my
Like,
own.
I get some of the people that don't take medicine because, or they take medicine and they may stop taking that medicine because it
Absolutely.
doesn't. It makes them feel weird or something.
Yeah, absolutely. No, like I just don't think that I have to have my medicine to be able to live a successful and normal life. I've gotten to the point where I know that I'm not going to be normal, and I don't
Yeah.
care who.
Oh,
Like, you know, I am who I am, and that's the way that everybody
what
else
up? What
needs to
up,
see that.
Apocalypse?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, man, what's up? I just caught what she said right there. I am how I am, or I am who I am. Yeah, I never changed that, man. Who cares what people think? You know, I made mistakes from being who I am. Like I'm careless, I'm reckless. I don't mean to be. I don't do it on purpose. But I messed up a lot of relationships. And I beat myself up about it. But the thing is, you can't change who you are, and you can't go back and change mistakes. It's like things happen. So, don't
And you
don't
shouldn't have. And you shouldn't
don't.
have to. You should have to go out there and change yourself for someone else. If you feel like you
mm,
need to change, you should change yourself for you. Not because
Yeah,
someone
not for
else
other
told
people.
you. Yeah,
Yeah, and what I was going to say about that is, if people don't stick around because of the things you do, you know what I mean, and mistakes you make, they're not real friends, because real
and they're
friends
not meant to be.
understand, you know. Like I lost
Yeah, that
relationships and all that, people are it's supposed to be for better or for worse, but like you make a mistake and they're gone. It's like, okay, like that's not real love, you know what I mean? That's not people that really got your back. So don't change who you are. I'm not saying be careless and reckless, but be who you are. Be true to yourself.
I mean, I literally have people come in and out of my life almost every single day, whether they die or they're still alive or whatever. But like, and a lot of these people, they leave a lot of chaos in my life. But guess what? You can leave whatever the hell you want in my life. It's not going to do any justice, because of the fact that I have learned how to love myself, and I have learned who I am. As long as you know those things about yourself, you're good to go. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if Tom, Dick, and Harry says, "Oh, well, you're crazy," and you're not crazy. They might be, but you're
they're
not.
crazy.
You can learn how to
My
live.
belief is some people that tell you crazy, they're the actual ones that are crazy because they're just maybe they can't stand themselves, so they have to project it onto someone else or whatever.
The main thing, the reason why somebody feels anxiety is because that they understand a lot more in the world. They understand the world to more of a different degree than most people. Regular people who don't experience anxiety are like low vibrational people. People like us are more like vibrational people because we see the world as it is basically. And that tells you right there that there's nothing wrong with us. We're absolutely who we're supposed to be. We're exactly where we need to be in life.
I
Whether
believe there's no such thing. I believe there's no such thing as normal.
there's not, there isn't. What is normal nowadays? Look around you.
Being abnormal is normal.
Right, everything is abnormal. And I mean, you know, this world likes to put stereotypes on things and then sit there and try to mix it around to get confusion in the world. But like you just have to have discernment with those type of things. If you feel like you can't move forward and you make yourself believe that and you manifest that, then it's going to be that.
Yeah.
If you fall
You
victim
are
to
what you believe.
right. It's kind of like you are what you eat. Well, exactly. You are what you make yourself believe. Your brain is the strongest thing in your body right now. Your heart is the second.
It's like if you tell yourself, what if, I always believe if you believe it, it will happen. If you don't believe it, it will never happen.
Yeah, your
Exactly.
brain is like a magnet. You know what I mean? Like there's a like an aura or whatever. It's a magnetic field around us. You know what I mean? Like we attract things. You know, whether it be people or opportunities or things. You know that happen. Like I've thought of negative things and negative things happened. I've thought of positive things and positive things happened. You know what I mean? I can't control it. It kind of happens on its own. You know, like you know, I went from manifesting my niece getting in contact with me. I haven't talked to her since, well, I haven't seen her since she was 6 months old. And she is 18 and she just reached out to my ex-wife and was like, hey, I'm looking for my dad, and I was with my wife at the time. She goes, is that my uncle in your pictures? Does he know my dad? And I'm like, wow, like I just thought about her yesterday and haven't seen her since she was 6 months old. So I was like, that was odd. And then I'm talking to my son about an earthquake watching 2012. And I said, wouldn't it be weird if we had an earthquake in like California? And all of a sudden the next day there's earthquake alert on my phone for California, nearby. And then a year later, I remind him of that. And then bam, another earthquake the next day. So it's weird. You could pull things into this world without knowing, and none of that was on purpose. So like I try to manifest stuff on purpose, and it doesn't really happen that way. But you got to be careful. Like you said, you are what you eat, but you also are what you consume. Whether that be watching something on TV, listening to something on the radio, the negative stuff, it pulls negative stuff into your life. And I'm guilty of that too. And I write a lot of negative lyrics too. I'm trying to step away from it. But that's the reason why I joined this podcast because, he's got a positive movement and I do care about mental health, even though I
Sure.
do, talk about some dark stuff sometimes. I try to vent and let it out. But
Yeah, you have to. I believe you have to. Whether it be light stuff or dark stuff. Sometimes you have to write it down or think about it
yeah,
or something to get it out there. Because keeping it inside isn't necessarily the best thing to do.
yeah.
Right.
But I sent some artwork to this dude for my album The Beginning of the End that's coming out soon. I want to drop it on my birthday next month. But we got a song called Brain Dead. So I sent in like a zombie picture and a skull without a brain in it. And I
So
said, what do you
so
think of these? And he goes, I don't do the zombie thing. He
I,
goes, he goes, we don't want to promote death. He goes, we don't want to, be careful what you manifest. And I thought about it. I was like,
I want to
yeah, I
know.
do rap about
I
that a
want to
lot.
know. I want to know what that track is about.
Brain Dead.
Yeah, brain dead.
So it started off. So it's weird. So I started off as the beginning of the end was just going to be a song because I made a song with him 2-3 years ago called The End of the End, and I wanted to make a prequel. So I was like, hey, you could be on this other one that I'm working on. Let's do The Beginning of the End. and I said, I was looking through his beats. I said, I like Brain Dead. He goes, oh, I like that idea too. That's a cool idea. And so he sends me his verse, and it was cool. But it wasn't really talking about the beginning of the end. Uh, but he put on like a whole different beat, and he was saying brain dead, like through the like a hook. And I'm like, bro, that's not what the song was supposed to be about. I was like, it's fire. I like it. I said, can you change your verse a little bit so it's matches what I'm talking about? The beginning of the end. And he goes, yeah, and so he used the original beat that I sent him, and he said, brain dead throughout that track. And I was like, man, I was like, damn it, that's kind of not really what the song's about. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make this a remix of the beginning of the end. So there's the beginning of the end, and then there's the beginning of the end, brain dead, and
So, but I want to know, like, your experience, like, when you were writing that, like, what is it exactly you were talking about in Brain Dead? Just that track from a mental health perspective. You there?
I think he might have dropped his thing.
Apocalypse?
Yeah, I think he dropped out.
I know he's still there, but I don't know. So let me ask you something. Like, you got a particular song that talks about mental health or whatever, and like, what was your thought about it when you were writing about it?
Okay, so like I've actually that's what my music is all about. It talks about like my depression, anxiety, and stuff, and like what how I wrote how I became to writing and like making that music is that I was going through something right then and there that just kind of like made me start thinking about the lyrics and like I was broken like so for me I'm a type of person. I'm empathetic, very empathetic and very sympathetic, and I feel my emotions on a higher level than a lot of people. So like a lot of people tell me that my soul cries when I cry, that they can hear my soul cry. And I guess that's the foundation of my music, and I'm proud of myself because of the fact that I know that if I'm writing this and it gets out to those people that are going through something like that, then I know that it's helping them.
Yeah,
It's
I feel what you're saying. I've gone through and I've actually wrote. You know, I read about all sorts of kinds of different things. I do talk about some like mental health stuff or whatever. In fact, like the theme song, I wrote a song. I wrote a song, and then I came up with the podcast or whatever. I got a song. I'm gonna release it eventually here. Hopefully, when I get paid next, I'm gonna try to release it with the words or whatever. But it's called "Take Me Away," which is a mental health whatever track type of track or whatever. But I do got a song out already. That's you can find it on any of my like my YouTube or my Spotify or whatever iHeartRadio. You know,
uh-huh.
it's called "Crying for Help" or whatever, which is I wrote it basically when my other half was going through some issues or whatever, so
Yeah,
I wrote it or whatever. But when I was writing it, I put myself, I wrote it like I was actually in her body or whatever, so I put myself in it, in that. And I can do that, like I'm good at doing that, where I can take myself out of my body and put myself in someone else's shoes or whatever, and write
absolutely.
it like I was actually them.
So that's going to be a very interesting song, I believe, because of the fact that you're not writing it about you, but you're writing it about the feelings of someone else, the
Yeah,
person.
it's actually out. That song is actually out. It's crying for help. The number four, not the word, the number. Or the number four is
Make
out.
sure
Yeah,
can you send me a link on my
you
Facebook so
you
I
can you can find you just look up my name, the Midwest Kid or whatever, you'll find it pulls up, all my information or whatever,
But I would love to hear that. And then I would love to hear the one that you're getting ready to drop.
Oh, the take me away.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm think I'm gonna like I said, when I get paid the next whatever, I'm gonna drop it, but I'm gonna try to drop it with the words or whatever. Because a lot of the times I drop a song and I don't got the words to it or whatever, you
Uh-huh.
know, where other people can like if they want to like you know what I'm saying. Because sometimes people can't understand rap or whatever. They say they can't understand rap or whatever, but it is what it is, and sometimes you have to have the words or whatever. Someone may want the words or whatever.
And you know
So
what?
that's
The thing,
why that's why I'm gonna release it. That's why I'm gonna release this next track with the words.
well, I was just gonna say, like sometimes sometimes you look at it like this. Sometimes there just ain't no words to describe what you're feeling. You know what I mean?
Oh
Sometimes
yeah,
that pain is just so intense that all you can do is just sit there in silence or just cry. But you just got to know that everything's gonna be all right. And
yeah. I know that like I believe everything. I believe everything works out in the end. Whether it be short time that it works out or a long time, but I always works out in the end. And
absolutely,
whatever happened, it was meant to be.
exactly. That what you go through in life every day is what makes you the person who you are today. It's either going to break you or it's going to make you. And what you have to learn to do is that you got to take that pain and set it as foundation for your growth.
Yeah, I'm thankful every day that I have the ability to write, and do music and whatever, you know,
Absolutely.
even if it's something I write that's not directly toward me, there's always a little bit of truth to every song that I do directed at me, even if it's not directed at me, where other people can relate to whatever it is that I'm writing about. I don't just write about, hateful stuff or, like some of these people got like certain lanes, certain types of tracks that they only do. Whereas me, I write about, sometimes I write about hateful things. Sometimes I write about love. Sometimes I write about, like the crying for help or take me away, where someone needs to hear that particular track.
Right. But I mean, I just, and something else I want to say is that, like, for anybody out there that is going through some things right now, like, I'm sorry. I want to apologize to you because I don't feel like anybody should have to feel the way that they feel over the things that are going on in their life, because everybody makes mistakes. But I want to tell you that I'm sorry for your pain, and that I just want you to keep going. I don't want you to
Eh,
give up, and like just try to stay alive because your life matters. And
Yeah, and always, always, reach out to someone. You can reach
that's
out to the show. You can reach out to the show. If anybody's watching, you can reach out to the show. I'm on Mondays, every Monday at 4 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's what I'm trying to do. There'll be maybe certain weeks or whatever that I may not be on because I have plans or whatever. But for the most part, I'm gonna be on Mondays, 4 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
and you're worth the thought of it. Don't think that you're not worth it, because everybody is worth something. That if you weren't worth nothing, then you wouldn't have been put here in the first place. Okay.
Yeah, I believe I was put here. Like lately,
Everybody.
after I started this, I believe that I was put on here for this, for this purpose, for this show, for people to come on and just get up whatever there is going through some kind of mental health or whatever, talk about it, with other people, you know, like a group discussion or something, A lot of the people that, I associate with, they will help you out and talk to you. They're not gonna judge you for what some of the stuff that you go through.
Look, on my Facebook, I've got a lot of people that reach out to me, people I don't even know about, and they start talking to me about their problems. So they're like, "Hey, can I talk to you for a minute?" And like, "Oh yeah, sure. Look me up, man. If you need to talk, look me up. If you need to scream, look me up. If you need to cry, look me up. I got you, man. I got you. Don't 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 do this alone.
Yeah,
Just don't."
yeah, people do not do this alone. You do not have to do this alone. There's someone out there for you to talk to, whether it be, like I said, the suicide hotline or the non-emergency, or even if you have to call 911 and go to the mental health part of the hospital or something. If you necessarily have to, do that. They will help, even if you think they won't, they will.
Look, I'm gonna say I've got to run though. I can't. I've got some other things I've got to do, but I am gonna leave you guys with this much. Where there is light, there's darkness. Where there is darkness, there is light.
You
You just
have to
got to
have
choose,
darkness and light.
right? There has to be a balance of everything. So when you find that balance within yourself, then you'll find balance in your life. But you got to learn how to find that balance within yourself and learn how to love yourself before anything else to start falling in place. But
Yeah, most definitely. You gotta just and for the most part, be yourself. Don't try to be who you're not, because
it's gonna make it
someone
a
in
lot
this
worse.
world someone in this world doesn't understand you, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to change yourself because
Exactly.
of them. They're haters.
Eventually find your group. You will eventually find your group of people that you fit in with, and you won't have to worry about feeling like you're an outcast or whatever because you found your group. All right. If you feel like you don't have nobody, hey, I'm your new best friend. All right, I got you. You got somebody now.
Yeah, but like I said, this was hopefully people listening or watching or whatever, hopefully you got something out of this, or whatever, because that's what I'm here, bring on guests, whatever, do different types of stuff. I'm not gonna always try to talk about just, I'm gonna try to do different stuff. But like I said, this is a mental health based podcast. So everything I do is based around mental health or whatever. I might try to like have people come on and bring their music out or whatever and talk about it from a mental health or whatever when they were going through it or whatever, just to try
Yeah.
to keep it interesting and not do the same old thing all the time, but still be based around mental health.
Well, what you're doing here is absolutely amazing. I appreciate you having me on your show. I appreciate you having the heart to want to reach out to people like that and to keep them going. It's absolutely amazing, and I do believe that many blessings are going to come your way for this.
Yeah, like I said, that's what I was like doing, whatever, doing my music or whatever, and then like one day I was like, I'm around it, because I'm around it every day. Because my other half, who I love very much, goes through a lot of mental health issues,
Uh,
So I was like, you know, I'm gonna do my part and like try to like bring it out more, because I believe that mental health is not talked about enough. It's
right.
definitely not talked about enough. So that's why I was like, and I'm thinking about maybe trying to like try to find some sponsorships or something, to sponsor the shows or whatever, because I believe, I
I
can do a lot of good out there and get sponsorships or whatever.
most definitely that would be an amazing thing.
And bring
But
it to the forefront of the world, get it out more to the world or whatever, because this is a
absolutely.
platform for that.
Right. But I do need to run. I appreciate you having me on your show, and many blessings to you. I love you for who you are, and to everybody out there, keep being awesome. Keep
Yeah,
moving forward.
and I will be back next week with another guest um on the Take Me Away podcast. We're not gonna run this show forever and ever and ever, because other people got certain things to do. But different shows would be different time lengths or whatever. There's not set a time or whatever, but there
I
is,
just
but
need
there
to go and
isn't.
get my animals food. I've got like, okay, so I rescue animals and I find them homes again, and I've got like 20 something cats, but now I've got like three new litters of cats, and then I've got three big dogs. So I'm a very busy person when it comes to my animals.
Oh yeah, we got two cats and a dog here too.
Would you like some more?
No, we can't have no more. The
But
landlord, won't let us have more, until whatever.
yeah, I know that kind of sucks. I mean, it's a good thing that I own my own property right now. Elsewise, I'd be going through this, having to deal with the same thing like that. But
Well,
that's what I do. That's what keeps me alive is my animals. And my animals, they feel what I feel, and they know that.
and that's another thing. I believe everybody in this world should at least have a cat or a dog or some kind of animal because
We're a
it,
gerbil.
well, no, what I was gonna say is dogs or cats or whatever, you may have horses or whatever, an animal. It is a very good thing for people with mental health issues because it keeps them sane and it keeps them around.
Did you know that cats actually they actually soak that type of stuff up, that mental energy, and they take it into themselves, and while they sleep, they release it. They
Yeah,
take it
I've
from.
heard I've heard stuff like that, and I was just getting out there that whether just get an animal, get a dog or get a cat or get a horse or if you're able to have horses, because it's very that therapeutic thing to have, a cat or a dog or a horse or whatever it may be, a pony or a
Well,
gerbil or a bearded dragon or something.
the first things first, I would start off with getting a small plant first, kind of like the
Yeah,
movie.
I'm just say I would just put it out there, that
Oh
whatever it
yeah,
may be, plant or something or
but
whatever.
listen, if you buy, start off with a plant, and if you can buy, if you buy that plant and it starts to grow and sprout, then you can think about getting an animal. But if you and some people, they have mental health issues so bad that they're not able to take care of and manage other things like that. So
Yeah,
don't put another life in jeopardy if you can't do it.
yeah,
If
no, but if you do, if you got like, if you live with, a parent or something, or a guardian, or you live in a home or something, where you're able to have, a service dog or something, where there's someone else there who can help you take care of the animal or whatever, get an animal or whatever, so they
right,
can help you out with the animal, you know.
okay. So I've got to cut it off from here. I've got to get going. But
Okay.
I wish everybody prosperity. I wish y'all happy beginnings and happy endings. I wish y'all the happiness and good vibes. I send out extravagant love that can be felt all over the world, no matter where you at. I hope you feel that love that I'm sending you guys, because you are loved, and I want you to just continue to feel that love. Okay, keep your heads up. Don't worry about it. You got you, and you can
Yeah,
do this.
keep you safe, you know. And everybody, thank you for tuning into the Take Me Away podcast. Like I said, we're on Mondays at 4 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I will be back next week with another guest. Stay tuned into that. Like I said, same time every week, Monday. Thank you,
Don't be
everybody.
fearing, spread the love.
Yeah, spread the love. Be positive.
All right, Danny. It's
Uh,
great to see you and hear from you
uh,
again. I hope you have the rest of your day as wonderful as you can, man.
you too.
All right, bye, y'all.
Out. We be. Peace out, everybody. Peace out,
Bye.
everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.